Ladies and gentlemen, I am Yusril and welcome to the Tribble Timewarp for the 18th of July, in which we are going to be taking a look at the Romulan veteran rewards. These have hit Tribble in an early form, and the first of them, for 200-day players, is the Romulan formal uniform. While it's a bit basic in and of itself, some nice collar and shoulder work there, do bear in mind I'm also using the default colour scheme, so there's going to be room for improvement without a doubt. It should also be noticed that it's a very good base for customization. In particular, you can use just about any wrist attachment, shoulder pad, chest gear, you name it, and it will probably work without too much in the way of clashing. Yes, even the shoulder pads and the capes. Yeah. It should also be noted that this uniform appears to be compatible with things like kits. So you can happily display your tactical science or indeed engineering kit if you are so inclined. However, it does appear to override body armour. You also switched on the Jem'Hadar suit and got absolutely nothing. That should be coming up as a standard bit of body armour graphics, or at least it does on my Fedi. Right. The other costume comes in at 500 days, the Romulan Admiral's uniform. Now, I would show you this, but I am blowed if I can find it on the costume selector. I mean, Romulan Republic, Civilians, Federation, Survivor, Tal Shiar, Spit. Switch over to Jacket Tight, and again, we've got the simple shirts. Nope. Maybe it's a vest. I mean, it could well be the Admiral's privileges are, No, they aren't. Shoulder pads? Nope, just stops at Vice Admiral. Collar? Well, you have this Romulan Survivor, and that's about it. Wrist attachments? Nope. Undershirt? Nope. Belts? Or other pants? Trousers? Well, belts, again, no. Boots? Nope. 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 And for that matter, no, although that's where the formal uniform is, loose long, loose knee high, hey, you never know. Nope. And mid-ankle, no. So as far as I can tell, despite the saying, the 500-day uniform is not in. That could just be a bug with my character's veteran status not properly registering, but if so, it is a rather weird one. There are also some space rewards. The captain's gig, or rather the commander's gig, because the Romulan rank system is a little different, is available to 400-day veteran players, and of course the heavy destroyer to 1,000-day players. So let's go take a look at some of these. Let's also lose that kit, because it does rather clash with the uniform. Come on. Come on. Oh, of course, it's updating. Oh, that's interesting. It's updating in-game, but it's not updating on the inventory window. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Accidental bug squashing, courtesy of the Tribble Timewarp. Such things should always be done. Right, so let's take a look at the 1,000-day reward first. This is the Denos warbird destroyer, ladies and gentlemen. Stats-wise, it is basically identical to the Peku. 4 weapons forward, 3 aft, usual array of gear. Note that it uses a singularity rather than a warp core. And of course, the dynamic tactical system console. Interestingly, this is literally a lift from the Peku because it still refers to the cone heavy disruptor attack, despite actually being a plasma attack. Along with 4 tactical consoles, 2 science, 3 engineering. If you're wondering why I have got a Mark 6 field generator in here, it's because of the next little bug I need to bring up. Namely, that the warbird destroyer does not count as a warbird as far as consoles are concerned. So if we take the singularity stabilizer, which of course you can fit to any warbird, no, it does not want to know. So I just grabbed the first bit of sciencey junk that was lying about and shoved it in there. At least the first one that wasn't complete junk. Appearance-wise, it's actually fairly attractive. Now, I know I hated on the I hated on the Chimera and I wasn't initially sold on the Pegu, but if we take a look at the Denos, it's actually very, very nice. In particular, it is a mashup of the Tavaro and the Mogai, having the basic body shape of the Tavaro with the Mogai's long neck and forward bridge. It also vaguely reminds me, not least because of the Romulan veteran material, which, by the way, is the 900-day veteran reward, of the old Interplay-era Sparrowhawk cruisers. If you remember those from Starfleet Command, yes, I am showing my age. You'll remember that the basic shape was more or less the same, if a little narrower in the wings, and the wings then curved back up to meet and form a third warp nacelle on the centerline. That's probably my favourite of the Interplay-era Romulan ships, even if functionally I preferred the old Killerhawk K, but hey, who didn't? But yeah, I mean, that ship I really, really like the look of. Of course, you can use the other basic Romulan materials, but meh, why would you? You're a veteran, you may as well show it off. Flaunt it if you've got it, ladies and gentlemen. Right. We'll come back to that in space later. As I said, numbers are basically identical to the Pegu destroyer. So let's just take a quick look at those. Denos warbird. 34,500 hull, 0.83 shield mod. Interestingly, the Pegu, I believe, is actually a 0.833, but less than 1% difference isn't worth talking about. 750 crew base, turn 14, so we can just about turn with an escort in a pinch. And the usual Uber Bridge layout: Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Commander and Ensign Universal, Lieutenant Science, Lieutenant Engineering. Right. In the meantime, however, we also have the Commander's Gig. Let's go find this. Here we are, Commander's Gig. I was wondering when we were going to see this. It's the Romulan scout ship, or at least a reworking of it, from Next Generation. So, what do you have? A Romulan cloaking device, a single ensign slot, base turn of 22, base hull 18,000, crew of 5. Okay, fair enough. And the classic next-gen look, more or less. Now, I am a little short on ship slots at the moment, so let's just quietly talk to ship selector and chuck out the tier cell shuttle, but not before we take a quick look at hull 4,000. Bam. Discharge. Goodbye, RRW scorer. I think all you ever did was rot in my hangar bay. Let's face it, you weren't even worth chucking out as a wild weasel. So, with that gone, ship and shuttle requisitions, get a new starship, browse selection, filters down to small craft, Commander's Gig, buy. There we go, the RW Terex. Okay, so, interestingly, base hull 6,000 on that summary window, 18,000 there. Well, let's go take a look. Still need to select this, ship selector, small craft, what do we get? Absolutely standard cores and the like. Well, that's what I suppose. Already the starship, and let's go have a closer look, see what it looks like in the looks fashion. Customize shuttle. So, closer look, very much the stubby mini Dideridex. Oh, there's another template as well. The Talon class. I honestly... I'm thinking I like being able to see where I'm going, so we'll just stick with the Giroc class. Can we use those options? Romulan veteran. Yeah, that's not too shabby. Bit basic, but hey, there you go. It is only a shuttlecraft. Okay. Let's purchase that just because we can. Right then. There's only one thing left, and that is to go to space. I really messed that in. It's like, space! You need the wild enthusiasm to make that work. Okay. So, the destroyer, ladies and gentlemen. And, bluntly, here is where the bugs start. You'll notice that, of course, it is a destroyer, so, of course, it's a bit of a transforming starship. You'll also notice the way that this rear section doesn't quite line up with the rest of the ship. If I bring the hull round so we're not staring at space, there we go. You can see that there's a very slight separation line here at this rear section because, of course, that's where the destroyer mode comes out. So, we shall temporarily find the tactical mode. Shove it in. You'll notice the icon updates despite being the Chimera. You'll also note that the animation is not in. So, while the functionality is there, you've got the boost to weapons and starship targeting, the whole extending, transforming sequence doesn't happen, which is a little bit awkward. We also have the Plasma Lotus somewhere in here. Where is it? On the Battle Cloak. Blasted Game completely rewrote my UI when they did the patch this morning. So, Plasma Lotus, standard numbers, of course, 2001-619 by 8. We get the Plasma proc for about 5% damage per pulse, give or take. Actually, 2,700 over 20. Yeah, about 5%, maybe a little less. And of course, the 75 current weapon power drain after the firing sequence is complete. The 2.5% shield ignore, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that is not from the Lotus, that is from this character's Tholian abilities. So, let us just quickly load in some bridge officers. Use the same fit I use on the Scimitar since it's got the same stations. Tovan gets the commander station. Devex gets that. Ivan gets that. Satra gets that. And BF gets her shields. Should I use Veryl instead? Yep, that works. Okay, right. Tribble being Tribble, of course, there's probably nobody on. Nope, that's a whacking great surprise. So let's go blow up some Tholians. Bugs. Federation warp trail. Gah! I thought that had been squashed. Right, I need some Tholians. Here, little Tholians. Life forms, you little life forms. I think I've mentioned it already, but I'm very definitely a fan of this ship. And yes, the heavy plasmas are on auto-fire, so that's a good sign. Right, enter deep space encounter, engage the Tholians. And wait for the loading screen. Right, okay, so first thing to check, of course, is going to be the Plasma Lotus. So, load into tactical mode. The animation did not happen, of course. Well, that's hardly a fluke. Oh yes, something else to note is the cloaking shimmer effect doesn't quite seem to cover the whole vessel. I'll decloak for a second. Watch the warp nacelles in particular. You'll notice that they're just fading in and out. The outline itself isn't doing the usual wavering effect. Wait for the cooldown to end. We'll recloak and demonstrate that again. There we go. Yeah, there's a very faint shimmer, but it's not nearly as pronounced as you'd expect. So, let's go find something to blow up. You guys will do just fine. About face, squirt the impulse drive just to get into range. All stop, and fire. So first thing to note is that we get this odd little mini phaser effect. And while the lance itself is functional, I have to wonder if that's an attempt at a Death Star light graphic, in which case it needs some work. Cannons fire from inboard on the wings rather than the nacelles, which is great because that particular habit really grinds my gears when people mess up on their starship design. Go for rapid fire. There we go. You'll also note that the torpedoes are not firing from the nose section. They are in fact firing from the launchers mounted on the neck. You can actually see the slots there and there, which are a nice touch, but it looks a little odd to begin with when you see the torpedo come out vertically and then jink to come onto its target. Even so, it's a nice way of having this beak without having to break up the lines of the nose with a torpedo launcher. Combat-wise, perfectly functional. The turret appears to be firing from, well, just after the mission pod, or just after and below the mission pod. Interestingly, it's firing from there, despite the fact that I'm expecting that whole section to raise up. So I don't know whether the firing point will move with the mesh or not. Again, that remains to be seen. Angle in again. And while we're here, this isn't strictly a bug with the Denos. I've noticed it with the Scimitar Live, but Singularity Jump has a little bit of a problem. Oh dear, I am trapped in a Tholian web orb. Obviously, I am going to use my Singularity Jump to get out. Now, you would think, because I am fully nose up, that I would exit straight ahead, that I would go up as well as forwards. In fact, that isn't the case. Let's get some drive trails going so you can see what's going on, and then jump. It teleported me horizontally. This is happening on live as well. I first noticed it when the Scimitar came in, and initially thought it was just that ship. But it's happening on all warbirds. Singularity Jump is ignoring your Z-axis for some reason. So I'm fairly sure it wasn't doing that to begin with, so something has crept in there. Right. Torpedo spread. Add cannons, and ha, zappy, 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 bang, bang, bang. Of course, while blowing things up is still well and good, we do also have the regenerative mode, so just tab out of this. Again, no animation, because of course you're not expecting one. And then remember that it wiped out Tachyon Inversion Beam here as well. So where are we? There we are. Cone Shield. Steel. Drop that in. And oh dear, the Tholians appear to have died in the meantime. Oh well, not a problem. Let's go find some other poor schmuck to blow up. Off we go. Hello, Mr. Recluse Class Carrier. Would you mind spawning some fighters for me, please? No? Excellent, thank you. Right, there we go. Few fighters away, and pop the steel. To be honest, it's to be expected that that would work properly. Let's face it, it was basically a straight copy-paste from the Pegku Destroyer. I'd have been disturbed if it hadn't. However, we'll pop the tractor beam again, and of course that doesn't work. Little bit embarrassing. Ooh, epic drop. Shiny, shiny, shiny. Gah! Why can't I have this kind of luck on the live server? So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Denos Destroyer, the Romulan formal uniform, the new veteran ship material, and the commander's gig. No sign of that 500-day admiral's uniform, although I may just be looking in the wrong place. And proof that the dice gods like to taunt me. I shall see you next time. Federation warp trails! Ah!